Once he'd finished his stretching, Dune took off his shirt and dove into the sea. Immediately, he felt the recognizable tug of the ocean's currents and the familiar wave of invigoration that ran through his veins. He swam out a safe distance, letting the waves rock him back and forth. He found it calming, the motion of the sea, like holding on to a piece of home no matter where his travels had taken him. Dune rode the waves back and forth, his body suspended in the water and his mind at ease. The ocean was a comforting presence, cradling him in her embrace and reminding him that no matter what happened, the sea was always there. He was grateful for this time, for the chance to leave his thoughts on the shore and just be in the moment. A few people surfed nearby. This cove was for beginners, and a lot of tourists paid the daily fee to come and practice here. There was a beach farther down the road where you'd find the more skilled surfers. After a while, Dune made it back to shore and grabbed his sweatshirt and flip-flops before trudging his way through the sand. In the distance, he heard the sand bony coming down the beach. By the time the beach opened for the day, the sand would be smooth, free of debris and trash. Of course, it would be a heck of a lot easier if people did their part and took out what they brought in. Yeah, that'll never happen. Dune climbed into his topless, doorless, and fully restored 1973 Bermuda Green Bronco. His car was his prized possession, and it rarely left the island. Hell, he rarely left the island. If he had business in the city and couldn't take one of his boats there, he'd borrow his mom's car or beg one of his brothers or friends to take him. The Carters were a well-known family in Seaport. They owned Blue Lobster Adventures, Pearl's Clam Shack, and Carter's Diner, which not only catered to the tourists but had endless activities and food for the locals as well. It didn't matter how many times Jenny from down the road went on the whale-watching tour, she'd still do it every year without fail. She was just one example of how much everyone loved the Carters. Dune pulled his Bronco into the family compound and veered right toward his tiny home. When it came time for him to move out, he didn't want to. Not because he loved his parents or didn't want to be away from his brothers. It was because nothing beat the view his childhood home had. Instead, he built a small house which was far enough away from his parents to give him the privacy he needed, especially when he had an overnight guest, but close enough that if he wanted a home-cooked meal, he wouldn't have to drive anywhere for it.